Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Mysteries of Hyrule podcast, where we will talk everything Zelda lore, theories, and speculation. And as always, if you want to join the discussion, or you have any questions, feel free to join our Discord linked below, or email us at mysteriesofhyrule@gmail.com. I am your host, Duncan, and today I am joined by our co-host, Connor, and a special guest today, Moxie from the Moxie Watts channel. Moxie, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Moxie. I do lore, all kinds of video game lore, and I am looking to come back after having a baby. So I'm excited to talk lore with Connor and Duncan here today. Thank you so much for inviting me.
No problem. We're glad to have you. Hopefully we can even have you some more in the future if you enjoyed.
Sure.
Alrighty, and we are also joined, as I mentioned, by our co-host Connor. Connor, if you want to introduce yourself as well.
Hi, I'm Connor. I'm just sort of here along for the ride, I guess.
I still don't believe that's his name, but we'll get to that later.
It's a secret name.
It's the dead
There's a secret name.
I will show you my ID. I'll whip it out for you.
Oh yeah? Only if I can put it live on the podcast.
No.
Self-dox.
No. I'm not doxing myself on the podcast.
Duncan's asking him to commit the self-dox.
Indeed. Alright, so today I don't think we have one super specific thing we're going to discuss like we usually do. We're going to kind of see where the conversation leads us. But I am genuinely curious, Moxie. Since you've been out of the, I guess first of all, going in, you have kind of left the YouTube scene, and specifically not really the YouTube scene, but the Zelda YouTube scene ever since Tears of the Kingdom came out. And I know your newborn hasn't helped with the return either, but I am curious. If you want to, I already know, but if you want to enlighten the audience, what was the reason that you decided to leave around the time that Tears of the Kingdom released?
I mean, they rug pulled us. They bait and switched the community. They made it they built so much hype up. Did they come on, right?
No,
Yeah, no.
Right, everyone was really excited. And it takes so little to please the Zelda community. And
really?
The gameplay people are extremely pleased. Obviously. You know what I mean?
Gameplay was incredible.
It would have taken very little more to, I think, please the lore. The people who were in it for the story, that crowd. I think it would have taken very little to make it make sense, plant some more seeds, because it just, everything felt very surface level and shallow. And even with the dude, I had all the hope in the world with even the update that they just did with the voice recordings. People had to buy a Switch 2. They had to buy into Zelda Notes. That was a $580. I think I calculated it, $580 price tag buy-in.
Well, and then don't you need Switch Online for that too?
Yeah.
It's really bad because
$600.
Yeah, that's an even cool $600 just to hear replay the game and hear the Zelda notes again, or these new notes about, and from what I've gathered, I'm sure people would be freaking out if there was, because I haven't heard all of them myself. I've heard most of them, but I haven't heard all of them myself. And
if I can actually intervene real quick, I do want to let the audience know that there will be some background noise from both me and our guest. That is because it is storming where I am, and our guest here has a newborn in the house. So yeah, there will be some background noise in this episode today, but hopefully it shouldn't be too big of a deal, and just letting y'all know about that. But also on that topic of the Switch, I actually, because you have to, it's what, 500 for Switch 2? Then
actually it's 450. It's 450.
$80 buy-in for the game plus the $20
$450.
for the online.
Then $70 for the game.
Is it 70 or is it 80? I thought it was
It's 80. It's 80 because
Yeah,
the
it's
Switch
80.
2 edition is...
Because of the Switch 2 edition, yeah. Unless you get
Yeah.
NSL, which is 90 because that's $20.
Yeah, you have to
Well,
get
then-
Switch
but
2
then you have to
edition
get-
and the Zelda Notes app, which
Yeah.
is Switch Online.
No, you don't need Switch Online. You can buy.
Yeah,
just
I think
the content,
I
but-
think that's why I
Oh, you
posted
can?
580. Yeah, I did research about this because I did actually end up writing a script during this period of time. And I just didn't end up doing it because it just was like, I don't know. I just didn't feel like
You know who would be
just-
the funniest guest to have at some point?
Yep.
I don't remember the YouTuber's name. I'll have to double check, but it's there's no shrine on Shrine Island. God damn.
Wait,
No
there's a
shrine.
Shrine Island?
There's a Shrine Island in Kapanga Swamp, and in Breath of the
Oh.
Wild, there was a shrine. In Tears of the
Oh.
Kingdom, there's no shrine on Shrine Island.
Breath of the Wild is 70, Tears of the Kingdom was 80. So to
Yeah.
get the Switch 2 versions. Yeah, I did the research on this. I had it like already.
Switch 2 edition is 80 for Tears, and the Switch 2 itself, the base model without any game included, is 450, so it's 530.
Yeah, I will say, I do want to say one thing about the Zelda notes. I have listened to all of them, the ones in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, and they do add a lot of lore, and so I do like that. They add some really solid lore that ties from Breath of the Wild and Age of Imprisonment, and even a couple tidbits that add to older games. But at the end of the day, yeah, I mean, you're paying an extra $10 for what is essentially what should have been free content. Let's be real. I mean, it's this one
Yeah.
really lackluster feature.
And like I bought the OLED. The
Yeah.
$350 OLED, the collector's edition one. Yeah, I bought that. So it's like I'm not about to buy a Switch 2. I just bought a brand new Switch. Why would I get a Switch 2?
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. The only reason
And
I
it's
even
like-
got a Switch 2 is because I just got a super lucky, Christmas gift. So that was like, did not expect that, but it's crazy how
And-
ridiculous it is.
And asking people to be like a crazy fan and being like, well, how crazy of a fan are you? Buy a Switch 2, buy the games again, just so you can listen to these Zelda notes, right? No,
Yeah.
We're not gonna just update it for everybody because that. Why would we do that?
Oh yeah, we can get more money this way.
So they fucking dangle. Sorry, they dangle it. Over everyone's head. They dangle this carrot over the community, and what y'all? It's like, okay, well, there's got to be something good in there, right?
There's a couple good tidbits, but it's not worth buying a Switch 2 and an extra $10. It's not
Dude,
worth
it-
it.
For $600 buy-in, there better be a jaw-dropping piece of lore.
Yeah, I know, right? They're
Like,
you would hope.
I need to be losing my mind when I hear
think-
this piece of lore. Like, whoa, this is altering the state of how we understand this. $600 buy-in to
Exactly.
hear the Zelda notes. I did the research, and so many people did it. Not just YouTubers, but like diehard fans.
Yeah.
It's the reason I bought the Switch 2 on launch was because I wanted the new Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom with the
Yeah.
better graphics, better FPS, and then I still haven't played them. That's I would play through Breath of the Wild, but I haven't played.
I've been playing through Breath of the Wild, and I did a challenge run on Tears of the Kingdom, but I have not gotten my money's worth out of it.
I haven't
mostly
looked at
been
the
playing
Zelda notes. I
Imprisonment.
keep forgetting that that's like a thing because I have to go out. I have to use my smartphone. I can't. It's not in the game. I have to go out of the game.
Yeah, it's not even in the game, which is like the stupidest
such a-
part.
That to me is the dumbest part because
Yeah, they should have been
I'm
extra
I just
memory.
want to sit down and play my game.
Like if
And
they
not
were
pull up my phone looking at where's this location? Great, let me go here, let me go here, let me go here, let me go here, let me go here. It's
There's so little that the community needs to be happy.
if there was the same number of them and they were all fully animated memory cutscenes, I'd be way less upset about them because if they were because there's 30 voice notes. If that was an additional
more?
30
It's only
cutscenes, that would be so worth it. If we got 30 full cutscenes, even just for the footage alone. But like, no, of course it was just voice notes.
And I still haven't heard a jaw-dropping piece of lore. And trust me, I still haven't stopped watching videos. I still haven't stopped being interested in what in the Zelda community. Like, because I played Echoes of Wisdom. I didn't play Hyrule. I think the Hyrule Warriors games are a little too overstimulating for me. But I still watched all the cutscenes. I sat down and watched them the day they came out. The day it came out, I sat down and watched. Me and my husband, we both just sat down and we watched it. We watched all of it.
Nice.
And it was just kind of like, I felt like, why, in what universe, like, in what any other game, any other, name it, is it okay to replay cutscenes from another game?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it would be
entire cutscenes played out in their entirety. And yeah, there's context leading up to it, and sure, it can lead into it, but don't make me sit through for the 15th time. Don't make me sit through these cutscenes. They're punishing us. They are. They know what they're doing.
See what? So I did play through all of Age of Imprisonment, and I think once you take like the side quests, we did
play through all of Age of Imprisonment.
Once you take in like all the side quests and the gameplay as well, I think it does add a lot, right? So like I not the biggest fan of them reusing cutscenes. That felt kind of weird.
Entire cutscenes, and yes, there was context added to them, but don't make me sit through the cutscene again.
Yeah.
Dog.
I completely understand that.
Holy crap. I have things to do with my life. If you're not going to change literally anything, do not make me sit through it again. Because I'm going to sit there the whole time thinking, well, obviously they're playing through it because something's going to change. Something's got to change about the scene because they're making me sit. Did you guys not feel it? Did y'all not feel that?
To be fair, well, my opinion on it was, yeah, sure, they reuse the same cutscenes, but the fan base really wanted this one to be canon. And I think they knew that from Age of Calamity. They really wanted this one to be canon. If they wanted to accurately retell the story, they would have to reuse the cutscenes. Now, yes, they could have made new cutscenes that are like, different camera angles, but at the end of the day, it would still have to be the same scene. Otherwise, you'd be missing core parts of the story. And I think the new cutscenes they add also help it settle for me as well, because the new cutscenes, especially those with Clink and Calamo, really...
I thought that story was really sweet. Yeah.
They should have, honestly, hot take, I think the whole game should have been Clink and Calamo's perspective, because that story was infinitely better.
Let me blow your mind. They should have included the little sword or fucking spear in Tears of the Kingdom. What are we doing? We are so easy to please, dude. People would have found the spear back there and they would have been like, why is this here? There would be people making theory videos about it. People would have been like hyperfixating on it, like, what is this spear? What does it mean? It's just laying here. It's so weird. What is a Gerudo spear doing all the way here in the Deku Tree? Why would it be here? Of all people would have lost their... And it takes so little to please the Zelda community. Seriously.
I think part of it is, and the reason I prefer Age of Imprisonment over Tears of the Kingdom, is I think Age of Imprisonment is it's fixing a lot of what Tears of the Kingdom got wrong. And so I think a lot of the problems that you have with most people have with Age of Imprisonment story-wise is stuff that ends up then being directed back towards Tears of the Kingdom, because Age of Imprisonment at the end of the day, I think it's more so trying to fix the Tears of the Kingdom plots thing that, it messed up on, which is a whole nother can of worms that a Warriors game had to fix a mainline game.
I was actually fine with like all the Zonite stuff that they came up.
Yeah.
That was fine. I was actually, I was like that's fine. They came up. You know what? I was like good lore drop.
Yeah.
All right. At least we know now. We know. Cool. So like that was, I was okay with that.
I really do think the Calamo storyline, especially the Calamo storyline and with Clank, hit me a lot harder than the Rauru one did. I feel like that should, and it kind of did have more emphasis in Age of Imprisonment.
I think it was meant to. meant to do.
It was definitely like the more of the main plot, because the final boss isn't even Ganondorf; it's the Forbidden Construct. So it definitely is like the main story. But like the whole first half of the game is just stuff we already know, and the second half of the game, where
it's the lack
all
of
about Calamo
forethought for me. It's like the lack of like thinking ahead for me, because it would have, in all the updates that they did to take away duping, people having fun and duping or finding ways to kind of trick the system because they were having fun. They took all that. They could take all those considerations away, but like they couldn't add in the spear during development for Tears of the Kingdom or Breath of the Wild, because this has been in development. You have to think this something like this has been in development for so long that they knew about this when Tears of the Kingdom came out. So they should have included the spear behind the Deku Tree, and people would have noticed it. Someone, dude, these YouTubers are. Dude, if you haven't noticed, the YouTubers out here are all like scrounging for scraps. They're looking for a story because there's not one.
I think the core problem is, for some reason, and I couldn't tell you why, Tears of the Kingdom feels like it really, really, really wants to be viewed in a bubble, separate from everything else, including its prequels. If for some reason really wants to be viewed in a bubble. And I understand that as like, you want your game to be accessible to everyone, and so you don't want like a whole bunch of stuff that doesn't make sense that's from other games. But like, you can include hints and references and Easter eggs. You can add
should
like
be
little bits.
Forethought.
Like, I hate to bring up this franchise. But look at Five Nights at Freddy's and how they do it. Like, they have lore and bits of stuff coming from other games that are intersected with this one, and you can play this game by itself and understand everything, but if you play the other games, there's like a whole nother level to it. And the past Zelda games like Twilight Princess and Wind Waker have also been like that. So even Breath of the Wild to an extent, referenced a bunch of games like Skyward Sword and Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, dude. Yeah,
so
what happened? They like made like there's a couple lines where they reference even just like what one Zelda line where she's like she's doing that little blessing line, and like she drops hints from like the 3 different timelines, and like it's like stuff like that. It takes so little to impress the story community, right? Like the people who are in it for the story, the people who are in it for the lore. And you can't say that Nintendo isn't aware of like how into like they know that people are using their IP on YouTube. They know it's free. It's free like PR, but like, and they know that they messed up with Tears of the Kingdom
because they fixed it because of wisdom.
Yeah, like it's like they're telling these shallow stories, these corporate, they're becoming more corporate. As opposed to like focusing on like, it's becoming more like Mario as opposed to being like,
as opposed to being classic Zelda. Yeah, and that might have something to do with
I just want them to focus in on like Zelda. Like what, like we just want to know more about the mystery, what Twilight. There's other mysteries that we can be interested in, like you got like all the dreaming concepts and like the going to other realms concepts, and then you got, I mean, there's so many different concepts that they've leaned into, and it like, is it a little fan service? Yes, but like, what are we doing?
To be fair, what I wouldn't even call it fan service, because it's a fictional world with its own world. It would be closer to world building than it would fan service because
Yeah, exactly.
all of this stuff still
That's a really good way of putting it, actually.
Whether you believe it's a mythology or a connected timeline, this all still happens in the same universe. And so they all share the same world and the same world building.
Yeah. It's crazy that they aren't like leaning into how people are just interested in the story. They just want to know more about the world and the magic and like when they did. Okay, so here's why Breath of the Wild was effective. It was because people had wondered for years and years, what were the Sheikah? What were they about? How did they do what they did? They were so mysterious. People had made theories about them, countless things. Like what? How did they tell? Like what are they doing? Right? Like it's so there was all these theories that swelled around for years, and oh my god, when Breath of the Wild came out, it was mind blowing. I didn't watch any content leading up to it. I like purposely like shielded myself, because I was in college and I was like focused on class. I was like, if I even pay attention to any of this, I'm gonna get sucked right in. I need to not pay attention to it till the semester is over. I bought the game, I bought the Switch, and it sat in my room until I was done with the semester. The second I was done, boy. And it was amazing to see like all these like Sheikah technologies and like it was, it was just like, oh, this is how they did it, right? Like, cause it just like big payoff, right? Big payoff. Cause it just solved so many mysteries around the Sheikah.
Oh yeah, and then they tried to recreate the same thing with Zonai, because in Breath of the Wild, there was that huge like blow up of like, is that a Zonai swirl? Which is all the Zonai mysteries, and then I think once they realized that, they immediately pivoted and tried to make everything about the Zonai. They were like, the Zonai are huge, it's our next Sheikah, and we have to make the whole game about the Zonai now. Because I don't think the Zonai were originally even part of part of like this central plot. I think looking at the first teaser, it really feels like they were trying to tie it in more with Twilight Princess than they were, anything else. And then I think when they saw all of the Zonai stuff, they're like, we got to make it all about the Zonai. People want the Zonai.
100%.
No, 100%. And it should have been like the Zonai should have also been just the Twilight Princess people. Come on, guys. Come on, guys.
Oh my god, having them be the interlopers is such a good idea.
It's like, come on, like we like look, and yes, would it have been like a little fan service, but come on, like it would have just meshed beautifully. The story would have just like, oh, and it's not that that's not possible, and maybe that's a reveal that they're saving, but saving it for what? Saving it for who? For when?
Well, what's really interesting is that you had all of this Zonai stuff, and then both Tears of the Kingdom and Age of Imprisonment implies to the point of almost straight up telling you that, oh yeah, all of this Zonai stuff is different from the Zonai stuff you saw in Breath of the Wild. They're completely different people. It's like, what? So...
Yeah, and then completely eradicating all the Sheikah technology. It's like what?
Oh my god. Simply having the Decayed Guardians stay on the map and having the chasms line up with the Sheikah towers would have been more than enough for me. But they couldn't even do that.
Yeah.
No.
It doesn't feel like it's a sequel to Breath of the Wild because they just don't mention anything that happens in Breath of the Wild.
I remember
everything disappeared. All fulfilled its purpose and it disappeared.
I was so flabbergasted when the game first came out about the missing Sheikah tech. I was like gaslighting myself into thinking Tears of the Kingdom is an alternate reality to Breath of the Wild.
And like honestly, that would have explained so much, would it have not? And Gossip Guys came out with that video that was talking about that, right? And actually, his video convinced me. I was like, you know what? Actually, Gossip Guys has got onto something. You know what? He's so right. This is totally an alternate reality of Zelda because it just explains everything.
Yeah, it
right?
really does.
And then the developers went and dunked on Gossip Guys' theory.
Yeah, they're like, actually, guys, it takes place right after Breath of the Wild, and all the Sheikah tech just, quote, magically disappeared, unquote. Cool.
That's so dumb. Because they could have at least went, oh, it went back into the ground. But no, magically disappeared is an even worse explanation.
Imagine
Like, if I thought of an explanation I thought would have been bad, which is just, it went back into the ground. But no, it was even worse than this.
It was even worse. Imagine how cool it would have been if you're, like, walking through the Hebra snowfields and you just saw, like, the crashed remains of Vaw Meadow. That would have been so sick to explore. That would have been so cool.
That would be awesome.
It could have had zero story impact, and it could have just been, like, a mini dungeon in the overworld. And that would have been more than enough.
The complete eradication of Breath of the Wild just felt like a slap in the face. And then it just being, like, basically boiled down to just, like, a lesson in, like, the class in Hiteno. It just kind of felt... Because, like, I literally couldn't find a mention of it. And then, like, I think, like, Captain Bergerson, like, finally messaged me. He's like, no, Mox, like, the kids in Hiteno, they talk about it. I was like, okay.
There's 3 mentions of Breath of the Wild in the whole game. That is in the school, at the very, very beginning of the game, which I want to get into the beginning of the game here in a second. At the very beginning of the game, when Zelda talks about the Calamity, she says back during the Calamity in passing, and then there's, like, graves you can find around Hyrule that mention the fallen soldiers of the Calamity. And that's the 3 references to Breath of the Wild.
The Zelda thing. Yeah, and that's it. It's crazy.
None of the characters act like they know Link.
Yeah.
Well, I guess there's all oh my god, why am I blanking on her? My mom brain. The chick that gives you the access to, she gives you the paraglider.
Oh, Pura?
Pura, yeah. Sorry, I just, like, blanked on her name. Pura, like, she talks about, like, a little bit about, like, I think, like, the tech and, like, how they reused it, right?
Yeah. She mentioned that TOTK disappeared or something.
Yeah, but, like, they cobbled together the towers from, like, she, like, offhandedly mentions, like, something, like, cobbled together towers from, like, the Shikatek to make these things.
They reused old, like, you can tell they reused Guardian parts because of the legs, and they reused, like, parts from the Divine Beasts in the shrines. It's like, if you look, I will say one cool Easter egg that I do enjoy is if you look at the tube that launches you out of the tower, it's the same tube as the shrine elevators, which is really fun.
Yeah.
So I will give it credit for that one little detail, but, you know.
And one could argue that they maybe cleaned up, but, like, you'd think you'd find, like, a pile of, like, just like...
I remember...
Rusted Guardians, you know, or something, like, because they disabled them, you know?
Yeah.
It's just bizarre.
It would have been less effort for them to just leave the Sheikah ruins around the map.
Dude, yeah. Literally.
And that would increase the world building.
Like,
right?
And just decommission the shrines. Like, just make them, like decommission, like, just rocks. And then we could be like, hey, that's where the shrine was. So cool. You know?
And then guess what?
Them, make the rocks. Like,
if you have all of this ruined Shikatek around the map, you have fans that are like, I wonder what this is about. And then you can direct them towards Breath of the Wild and they can go buy your other game.
Literally. See, these are my issues. These are my issues. It's like, it just makes sense to retain continuity and stop gaslighting the fans. And then, like, when we come up with a way that it makes sense, a way that it can make sense, you tell us, no, you don't get it. You don't understand the story. And we're just like, there's people whose entire job it is to understand the story. Like Zeltic.
Yeah.
Like, Zeltic even made it like, I hate Tears of the Kingdom video.
Yeah.
You know, me and Benoon were watching it. We're just like, ooh, you know, like every time he'd throw a diss, it would be like, ooh, he'd be like, I'm really disappointed in how Tears of the Kingdom turned out. And he'd be like, ooh, you know, like diss, you know.
Yeah, no, I remember that. I remember when all those videos were coming out. I think the most disappointing part of Tears of the Kingdom, I think one scene, more than anything else in the game, there is one part that stays rent-free in my head as the most disappointing part in Tears of the Kingdom. And that is when you're at the very start of the game, you're going down, you meet Ganondorf. At this point, we're still under the assumption that it's maybe Twilight Princess Ganondorf, and then he comes out and he says Rauru by name, and he knows Link and Zelda, and you're just like, oh my god, it's him. He's back from Twilight Princess or wherever, and then Nope, you're wrong. It's actually a new Rauru, and he knows Link and Zelda because of weird time travel shenanigans. And it's like, what? Excuse me? Huh? What?
Yeah.
If it wasn't for the art book leak, I would have assumed the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the art book leak.
Because I potentially strayed away from the art book because I didn't want spoilers.
Yeah, I got the Rauru thing just vaguely thrown at me one day. I couldn't avoid it.
I went through it. I was just like, I'm gonna get spoiled on it. Someone's going to send it to me. I'd rather just make the choice my own.
Yeah.
All right. So we are at like 30 minutes already, and we kind of covered Age of Imprisonment and Tears of the Kingdom. So what's your opinions on Echoes of Wisdom?
Oh, I thought Echoes of Wisdom was really cute and really sweet. I think the lore is interesting. I wonder where it goes in the timeline all the time. I've not seen it convincing.
They confirmed it.
They did?
Wait,
where does it go?
It takes place in between. So it takes place after Link Between Worlds and Triforce Heroes, but before Zelda 1.
Hold on.
Which, I mean, is one game off from where I put it, so it's not like super far off, but it lines up pretty well.
Sorry, I'm just Googling it now. I just want to see it from last set. Where it goes. Takes place after Triforce Heroes. And for the original. Wait, hold on. And defeated. Hold on. Sorry. Where's my book? Okay, where's my timeline? I have it somewhere.
It's...
Sorry, I just like looking at it.
You're good.
Because I know where it is visually on the timeline, I guess.
I think it's a really fitting placement. I did make a video on my YouTube channel that speculated that was actually right before Link Between Worlds, but you know, it ends up being afterwards. But I still think my argument for it being right before Link Between Worlds is really good, because I theorized, since the Triforce is in the Triforce Chamber that you see in the Oracle games, that it takes place before Link Between Worlds, because in Link Between Worlds you see the Triforce in a void, and at the end of Echoes of Wisdom you leave the Triforce in a big void. But other than like one discrepancy, the timeline placement makes total sense, because it does explain Castletown and like Hylia and all that.
Yeah.
You can. Oh, fun fact! You know you can put minus AI.
Minus AI. Yeah, I just sometimes forget to actually do it.
Yeah.
Okay. So yes. By the way, everyone, use minus AI to stop Googling.
Yes, get your facts slightly more correct than they would normally be. Only slightly, though.
Yeah, I didn't know about that until a couple days ago.
So which one? You said it was after Triforce Heroes, right?
Yep.
Yeah, after Triforce Heroes.
That's such a bizarre placement.
I mean, not particularly, because you have Castletown, and there's no Castletown in the Link Between Worlds, and Link's House is destroyed. It obviously takes place some generations later, but I mean, it works pretty well.
Yeah. Okay.
I will say,
I was kind of like wrestling with the idea of like, was it before Skyward Sword? Like,
yeah, because of the Elden Volcano bit.
Yeah, exactly.
I think Elden Volcano is Hebra, and I think that game's Hebra is Death Mountain. I think they're like swapped. Because if you look in Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild, both mountains are volcanically active. In the depths underneath both, there's a lot of lava and hot springs. So they're both volcanic mountains, so it's not a huge jump to assume that Mount Hebra is now active and Death Mountain is currently dormant.
For sure. That makes sense. Huh. I wouldn't... Yeah, I was really toying with the idea that it was before Skyward Sword because... Yeah, and then also like all the chaos stuff and... Yeah, Null and all that. Yeah, I just...
God, I love Null. He's one of my favorite characters now.
It makes sense, though. That makes sense, but it still tells, like, a little bit more of a full creation story. Yeah. I did appreciate, and shout out to Last Protagonist for purchasing the game for me. I didn't, like, have, like, a lot of liquid income at the time, and so he just... up and bought the game for me. I thought that was really sweet.
Nice.
So
that's very nice.
he does Elden Ring content, but he played Echoes of Wisdom. He thought it was a really good game, so he bought it for me. He's like, Moxie, I know you're mad at Tears of the Kingdom, but you have to play this game. I'm buying it for you, so you have no excuse. And I was like, okay, fine.
After the disappointment of Tears of the Kingdom. Oh, sorry, Connor, you go on.
Yeah, I kept trying to force, like, once I got past the bit where they start talking about the goddesses and the creation and Null, like, the 4th dungeon, I think, is when that start. After the 4th dungeon, I kept, like, trying to get Duncan, hey, you need to get past the 4th dungeon. Hey, you need to get past the 4th dungeon. Get past the 4th dungeon right now. It was a few days of just me, like, get past the 4th. Are you past the 4th dungeon yet?
Because I remember, I was taking my sweet time with the game because I was exploring the overworld. The overworld in that game rocks, by the way. If you haven't explored the overworld of Echoes of Wisdom,
for sure.
Go
I
do
spent
it.
a lot of time. Oh,
the mini dungeons.
I hopped over every single square on that whole game.
It's so good.
The
mini dungeons,
you bet.
the mini bosses are great.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I spent.
I really have no complaints about the game. I really enjoyed Echoes of Wisdom.
It was a really good game. After because I was taking my time exploring, and so I was only like 2 or 3 dungeons in by the time Connor over here was like on the 5th or 16th, like get to the 4th dungeon. At this point, I still thought Ganon was the main villain, so I get to the dungeon, and I'm on a Discord call with Connor as like I'm doing the Ganon fight. I'm like, oh my god, this must be like an early Ganon fight. It's gonna be like an I lose fight because this fight is so hard because I was playing on hero mode, and it's so cool. This is one of the best Ganon fights, and then Ganon's dead, and there's this weird monster that comes in, and I was straight stun locked. I was like, what is going on? What? This is awesome. What is going on? And then of course I did the next dungeon and the whole Null review, and I'm like, oh my god, this is awesome. What the hell?
I like how Nintendo responded to the pressure of getting to play Zelda.
Yeah.
Finally. I did appreciate that Nintendo finally gave us the opportunity to play her and play her in a way that felt authentic. I think they did a really good job of balancing like how Zelda would make her way through the world.
I feel like I heard a lot of people didn't like Zelda's playstyle because it wasn't very like sword fighty, but I personally loved the playstyle. I loved like the kind of magic summoner. That was really cool in my concept. I liked just summoning an army of like moblins and keys and watching them just like mow down everything in my way. It was really satisfying.
Boss fight was a little. The final boss fight was a little stressful. I was pregnant, and it took me a couple of tries.
Oh my god! I did it on hero mode. I was fighting that boss for like 3 hours.
I didn't replay the game, but I did like really enjoy my playthrough.
It was a ton of fun.
That's what's up. Yeah, I really explored too. I took my time. I was like, this is cool. Yeah, it's just like this is like the baseline though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is like the baseline of what I expect with
like
a
the Tears of the
game.
Kingdom.
If I'm gonna dump like a bunch of my money into a game or your consoles, I'm fine with it. Just give me like, give me a little bit, and then they had like the references of the goddess statues in there. Ooh, I love that. So good. It was great. It was great.
It was so good. I especially liked the not only all the references to A Link to the Past, but all like the foreshadowing to Breath of the Wild, because like you have like the super early Sheikah tech and all that stuff as well that's being designed by the scientists who like totally
super
blew
cool.
the name up.
These are like the baseline of like what my expectations for a game though, like, and they met it, and that's like great. And I wanted to see if that pattern continues or if they even care. And then it's like seeing like Hyrule Warriors come out. It was just kind of like, oh, so you just didn't learn. You didn't learn because like what? Why are we replaying entire like? Dude, there were so many cutscenes. Like, I'm trying to be graceful about this, but there's
Warrior games have a lot of cutscenes. To be fair, though, I will say this: considering you didn't play the game, you probably missed a ton of lore because there's a lot of side quests.
I watched a full. I'm telling you, I watched
the full thing. Yeah, because there's
full, like where they show the text of like when they're interacting with it during the fight. Like, yeah, I watched Like, I'm telling
Not
you, I
even
want.
just those texts. There's a lot of like on the overworld map. There's like side quests that you can do, and most people spam through them. But they have a bunch of flavor text,
I
and I'm not
waited
gonna
for the
say they
full
contain any
playthrough.
lore.
I'm telling you, I waited for the full playthrough to come
Oh,
out because like
nice.
it took a little bit. It took like 2 days. But
Yeah.
like I waited for that full playthrough to come out, and then I sat down. I watched like
Oh, okay.
one
So you
where
did
there's
see
like,
like all the bonus material.
yep. And because I was really like, look, man, I'm that guy. I'm a diehard fan. I love
Did
Zelda.
Okay, here's a cool detail that I noticed straight away that I don't think a lot of people did. And this is like it's not a huge piece of evidence, but it does lead me towards like OG founding theory. And that's in the Gerudo section, all of the Gerudo's like gear and clothing and armor is way more similar to Ocarina of Time Gerudo than it is Breath of the Wild, Echoes of Wisdom, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Like they're wearing that style of clothing, which I think is a cool detail. Like I'm not gonna say the game is like perfect in every way, but it definitely had more references and more fan service to the older games than Tears of the Kingdom
For
ever did.
sure. My beef was really just with the replaying the same old cutscenes that we've all been subjected to this many times. It's just so frustrating because it's just like, stop, Nintendo, stop wasting my time.
What do you mean? What do you mean? They cut out Ganondorf's weird ass smile. Totally new cutscene, right?
Like,
They changed it. It wasn't they cut it out. They had the same thing play just without the smile.
leading into the scene, and we know what happens next, right? We, the audience, we know what happened. You can be like, oh, but
Yeah, with the whole, like,
no one
replaying
new
the
is
stuff.
playing it. No one new is playing it. No one's like, ooh, I'm gonna try my first Zelda game, Hyrule Warriors, Age of Imprisonment, my very first one. No one. Zero.
You know, you say that jokingly, but I have a friend whose first Zelda game was the Age of Calamity.
They're like that only guy, man. They're the only one.
There's gonna be the one person out
There's
there.
always gonna be that one guy out there, but like, come on, man. Like, we're talking about like the majority. Like, come on, know your audience. Know your audience. That's like rule number 1 of being like a showman of like videos, or you're playing a game, or you're telling a story, or you're holding a conversation. It's rule number 1. Know your audience, right?
Oh, for sure.
They're not being aware of their audience. They're being really, really tone deaf, like, because we're all saying very like maturely, like very explicitly how we feel, very loudly. I mean, like, look at Skitty Bitty. Skitty Bitty got huge by saying Tears of the Kingdom sucks.
Shrine on Shrine Island. Yeah, oh my god. No Shrine on Shrine Island is truly the new Zone Ice World meme.
Yeah, man.
That is great.
Skitty Bitty got big on, and Skitty Bitty's making their way around because of their hate toward Tears of the Kingdom, and they're trending on it.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. Skitty Bitty has been in the scene since Breath of the Wild, but never blew up until that Tears of the Kingdom video.
I'm not entirely sure on the Skitty Bitty.
I want to say Skitty Bitty's been around since at least since like the later years in Breath of the Wild's life, before Tears of the Kingdom trailer started dropping. And maybe it was around the time that we got the first teaser. But I know she's like definitely been around since before Tears of the Kingdom, but she never blew up until that video.
That's what's up. And like I I just point that out because it's just like, clearly there's a mutual, like, the community is being loud and clear on this. You know what I mean? And Nintendo's acting tone deaf, and for what? Because they're like, this is our little baby, and we're gonna do it the way that we want to. It's bizarre.
Another thing I think it might be is, for some reason, they didn't switch game directors, but they switched story directors between Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. And I think whoever they have for Tears of the... It's like the classic, like, it's like the Star Wars sequel trilogy thing, where they couldn't decide on a story director, and so the story kept changing. And I think we're seeing the same thing happen with the Wild era.
Yeah.
We hopefully figure everything out for the next one.
Yeah. I'm just waiting in anticipation for something to... And, like, they had me fooled with all the Fi stuff, and I just feel like that stuff was kind of shallow.
it was kind of shallow, but it is
It's kind
cool
of
that it is heavily implied that Fi is in control of the construct, and so it is. We do technically get another game with Fi, which is really cool.
It's a dog. It's just that they're playing. Come on, it's this. I heard a word for this the other day, and I appreciate it. It's nostalgia slop. This is nostalgia slop. They knew what they were doing with it. They whistled at us. Hey man, come on. Hey, look, cool lore thing. Oh, you remember Fi? You love her, right? Skyward Sword. Ooh,
you loved one of the worst companions in the franchise, right?
Bet you wanna know more about that.
To be fair, the fans were kind of asking for that one with how many, every single time the thought that the Master Sword would chime in Breath of the Wild or Age of Calamity or Tears of the Kingdom, and it would play a note or two of Fi's theme, and the whole fan base would be like, oh, "Is this Pog? Is this absolute cinema?" And then, it felt pretty obvious.
Everyone, I even did that sometimes.
Yeah, I feel like
they knew
it was inevitable considering.
And I still think that the reference is shallow at best, just being implying that okay, a piece of the Master Sword powers this construct. Okay. But why is the construct linked then?
Yeah, there's a whole...
one could be oh, but it's because spirit of the hero lives in each shard of the sword. Sure, man. Okay, man. Sure.
My personal interpretation is that either the constructs were, if you believe in OG founding, the constructs were maybe based on the ancient hero from Skyward Sword or something, or alternatively, when Fi took control of the Master Sword, she rearranged it since it can kind of transform, and she made it look like Link, since she doesn't have a physical body anymore. She kind of, I don't want to say moves through Link, but Link is essentially her host, and so it kind of makes sense there if you want to interpret it that way as well.
Yeah.
But
I just think the hair on it is dumb.
I don't think a robot needs hair, but it's whatever.
Yeah, just it's
Last time I checked,
I'm trying not to complain too much because it's just I'm fine with them taking risks with the story and kind of doing things that are outside the box. I want to encourage that kind of storytelling. However, it feels shallow using our nostalgia to
market. Having it in the game is fine, but specifically using it as a marketing tool is definitely not maybe the best move.
They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing.
Oh, they 100% know what they're doing.
Come on, they know. So that's what I'm saying is that they could do the bare minimum of just delivering a little more. Just give us a little more dough to work with. Come on.
I mean, even just straight up confirming
community is so hungry. Come on, we're all so hungry for something that we can just toss around for a while. It took one line from Zelda in Breath of the Wild for us to just lose our minds over oh my god, what timeline is this?
I will say, one thing is, sure, Age of Imprisonment did add one new potential theory to the franchise, and that's what's up with the forbidden constructs. But other than that, the only thing it provided is more I don't want to, I guess more evidence for all the founding theories. Okay, this is just more stuff to work on this theory that we've already been working on since Tears of the Kingdom came out. Which, I mean, cool. We're getting more clarification on a theory, but you didn't even confirm it. You just gave us more evidence for both sides instead of confirming if this is OG founding or refounding. I feel like they were going to confirm, if they were going to confirm anything, I felt like that was going to be the one. And then they just didn't.
Yeah. It's just
Which, I mean, on one hand, I'm fine with them not confirming stuff because that's more stuff for us to theorize. And then on the other hand, it's come on, you've been dragging out this timeline debate with the Wild Era since 2017. I think we can wrap this one up.
I think they shouldn't have even interfered with the timeline stuff. I think we were fine just kind of speculating on our own. I think it's just kind of made it this antagonistic relationship between Nintendo and its fans.
Not even Nintendo and its fans. Like they straight up pitted the fans against the fans with it.
Yeah, but let us hash out amongst ourselves. If we want to debate timeline, like let us try and figure it out on our own. Like, but like they want to insert themselves in and be like, no, you're right and you're wrong. And Gossip Geist specifically, me, Nintendo, saying you, Gossip Geist, are stupid for ever thinking that this is a direct sequel of Breath of the Wild, dude. Dude, no, they called him out directly. I know. I'm gonna say it as it is. They called Gossip Geist out directly for his theory. They said it's stupid. Nintendo, the big Nintendo, thinks your theory about an alternate timeline is fucking dumb. So you are dumb for thinking that it's a direct. We're gonna say that in this interview. This is a direct sequel, kid, dummy, and it's cute that you like to theorize about it, but you're wrong. Like, that was just so out of pocket. Like, go read the quote. I'm obviously paraphrasing like massively. Go read the quote for yourself. But like they call out his theory and they say it's stupid, and that made me really angry because it's just like here we are having fun.
I feel like so. Okay, I'll rewinding a bit back to what you said about the overall timeline and confirming, deconfirming. I do agree that for the most part, letting us speculate is definitely better. Like, they shouldn't have confirmed Echoes of Wisdom placement. I don't think they should have let us debate that if they really want to continue with this. But like, on the other hand, I feel like we do need some, maybe not all of it, but we do need some concrete, like even just telling us, hey, all the games are in a single continuity and not a mythos, not repeating legends, but like an actual timeline. And then boom, let us figure out the timeline. Because you do need some concrete foundations when you're theorizing, right? Like, you can't make a whole theory about Wind Waker and that's based on you assuming that Wind Waker is a sequel to Ocarina of Time, if that's not canon, if that's not, or at least if that's not proved. Because then your whole theory is like, well, what if it's not a sequel to Ocarina of Time? And now everything just doesn't make sense.
You'd be surprised how many well actuallys are in the comments, like they will, like, the comment. The Zelda community is very passionate about their lore, and they will tell you when you're wrong.
Well, one thing.
So like the YouTubers do like make a really big effort to cross-reference materials and like cross-reference theories and like check with other, like we'll check with each other to like see like if a theory is correct a lot of the time, like, or ask other people about it because there's so much to know about it, and like people want to be correct.
I'm sure you have as well, but I've had many discussions with Lil Brilliant Historian.
Yeah.
But like one thing that also, kind of reminds me of as well is like, oh shoot, what was it? Dang it just skipped my head.
You mentioned Lurolian.
Right before that. I don't remember what I was talking about exactly. It was something to do with like the the fans. So like one thing that really it's kind of a pet peeve of mine, but like I understand why it's a thing that happens in the fan base, and that is that a lot of fans have like these super strong headcanons that are not founded in reality, and they just state it as if it's like factually canon. It's like, no, that's not actually stated anywhere. And I do understand that this is a 40-year-old franchise now that, if you've had a headcanon for like 10 years, you probably don't remember if that's an actual canon or a headcanon. And I understand that, but at the same time, it is very annoying. Like, at least fact check yourself before you actually someone.
And like, no, but these people do. They fact check themselves, but like a lot of people in the comments, like they're just as passionate as we are about the lore and about it being factual or correct. And like, Nintendo is aware of this. Does that make sense?
Like, that makes total sense.
And so, like, my protest is that they like, it's over the it truly is about Gossip Geist. It is how they treated him. I don't agree with how the developers treated him as a theorist. It was really messed up. I think that his theory was wonderful, and that like it made sense, and that a lot of community like latched onto it very quickly. We were all just like, oh yeah, that does make sense. That actually really does make sense, huh? Wow, that solves so much actually. So many of the discrepancies. Wow. I feel a lot better about this now. People collectively took a sigh of relief. It was like, wow, okay, this can make sense. It can make sense this way. And
one thing I think they should have done.
Us in the face, you know?
Yeah, is like if they saw a theory like that come out and like people are preferring this theory over your actual story, maybe you should. I know. Okay, I'm usually against pivoting the story to like go against whatever like fans are guessing or like theorizing or whatever, or like pivoting the story at all during like the telling of the story. But if you are telling a story and your fans are ultimately preferring this theory over your actual story, then maybe pivot to kind of lean into that a little bit.
It's all about the audience. That's like, as a storyteller, it's all about the audience. And it's not that you can't do something different than what the audience wants entirely, but you know, these things are nuanced. It's like, oh, maybe we didn't. They would have to admit that maybe they did some things wrong, and that maybe it does make some sense to have it be an alternate reality, because there's so many discrepancies that it doesn't make sense, and that this is the only way that it does, and they're just too prideful to pivot. And that's just really sad. Because there's too many there's way too many continuity errors for it to be like a direct sequel. There's like, I've talked about it, you know, I've talked about it in my videos, and it's just sad, you know.
Yeah. Having continuity errors between games like Twilight Princess and Ocarina of Time, I mean, that makes sense. Those games came out like decades apart, and you know, they're hundreds of years after, like, apart from each other in the timeline. But
these are all just legends anyway, or whatever. You know?
Yeah, and then having Tears of the Kingdom be, what, like, at most, like, 7 years after Breath of the Wild. I almost said Ocarina of Time. After Breath of the Wild, and there's all these, like, discrepancies. It's like, this is weird. I mean, I can understand it if it's Wind Waker or Twilight Princess to Ocarina of Time, but, like, this is the Majora's Mask of Breath of the Wild.
Yeah. Yep. It's the direct sequel.
Yeah. Anyways, well, we are just about hitting the almost the hour mark here, so I think we're gonna go ahead and kind of start gearing up to kind of wrapping this up. Is there any final thoughts that any of us have?
Oh, just thank you so much for inviting me. I love ranting about this subject, and I actually haven't gotten to like air how I felt about it to anyone. So when you asked, I was like absolutely interested in expressing my thoughts on the subject, because I'm like, oh, someone's asking me about how I feel about, sure, I'll talk about it, because yeah, I do feel strongly. I miss talking about Zelda, and I'm waiting for there to be something more substantial to get me back in the game. And they almost had me with all the Vi stuff, and then when I saw what it was really about, I was like, no, not enough. Still not enough. Fair,
very, very fair. All right, well,
if they make more games like Echoes of Wisdom.
Yeah, more games like Echoes of Wisdom. That was great, and they almost had me, but I really just didn't feel like there was anything for me to talk about other than where it was on the timeline, and I didn't know, and I couldn't even explore. Like I tried to think about it. I thought about it really hard. I talked to Benoon about it a lot. I thought about it really hard. And I was just like, I got no guess other than Before Skyward Sword. And I think somebody else had already come up with that.
Yeah, I've seen that floating around on like Reddit and stuff. We are kind of gearing up to closing off, but there's one more thing I do want to bring up, and that is, I have this wild theory, and while I've got these two lore heads here in the chat with me, I'm going to throw it at y'all and see how y'all chew this bone. What do we think about Link's Awakening potentially having a world where it's a sequel to Echoes of Wisdom?
Yeah, man. Why not? I mean,
it's something that
I feel like Link's Awakening can absolutely kind of like float a little bit, you know. No pun intended, but can kind of like, it's one of those games that kind of is like separate because it's like literally takes place in an entirely like separate physical environment. So yeah, I mean, I feel like it makes sense. It could, yeah, it has potential to absolutely come.
Yeah, I had that like random shower thought the other day, and I was like, what if there's a world where Link's Awakening, especially since in the encyclopedia, for some reason they try to separate it from A Link to the Past. I wonder if there's a world where they end up pitting a link, end up putting a link between world, or not link between worlds, Link's Awakening after Echoes of Wisdom, especially with all like the references those games have to each other.
Yeah.
Especially since they use the same art style in the remake of Link's Awakening.
Yeah, the art style is like the first thing that led me to that. And then just like all of the Easter eggs to Link's Awakening that were in Echoes of Wisdom was like, I wonder.
Yeah, I definitely see like, especially the art style. Obviously, they're like, literally one for one. Yeah. And that's why I wonder if like they were already developing the game to be Link, and then they pivoted whenever they heard the outcry from the community about Tears of the Kingdom having Zelda as the protagonist.
They did. They actually did. There was an interview where they stated that they heard all the outcry from Tears of the Kingdom. They're like, all right, we're going to pivot. We're going to make Zelda the main character, and we're going to make this story a little bit deeper. They actually they had a completely different story wrote that was basically just the classic go kill Ganon, and then they heard that people wanted a better, like more lore and a better story, and so they actually took a break from developing the game for a week to completely rewrite the story.
That's awesome.
I think they did pretty good. I like the Knoll and the goddesses. That was fun. That was fun because I was not expecting us to ever go back to the golden goddesses and creation itself. Oh, yeah. I honestly thought we were forever going to be stuck in this sort of more bland, very on the nose, completely story that's only going to focus on this new era that they're making.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, we're past the hour mark now, so I'm going to go ahead and hand the mic back over to you, Moxie. If the viewers want to find you, where could they find you at?
Just on YouTube, and I mean, I guess I have a Twitter and what other social stuff? Yeah, I'd say YouTube, Twitter, TikTok.
YouTube and Twitter. Yeah. Alrighty. Well, that's and then I'm assuming your name on both those is the same, Moxie.
It's Moxie Watts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thank you so much for having me again. Really
no problem. Hopefully we can have you again in the future.
Sure.
But other than that, it's been a great episode. We'll see.
Thank you so much for talking with me. It was great.
Yeah, no problem. We'll see all of you in a future episode. And as always, if you have any questions or you just want to discuss something Zelda related, feel free to join our Discord linked below in the description, or email us at mysteriesofhyrule@gmail.com for all your Zelda related questions, and we'll answer them on the podcast here. Until then, you all have a wonderful day, and we'll see y'all later. Bye.
Bye.